Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday. If it's Friday for you, I never know how time zones work. Today we're doing something very exciting for me. I'm in love with the Joule Thief circuit, which is something that I definitely did not invent. But well, let's just take a look. Here's the Wikipedia page on it. I've covered it a number of times in recent videos, so just a really quick overview here. We've got it's basically something that allows you to take a nearly dead 1.5 volt, for example, like a AA or a AAA battery, and use it to power an LED, even in circumstances where it would usually require a bunch more voltage. And it does that through some magic of using a transistor to build up magnetic field around a ferrite toroid, and then the magnetic field sort of like overloads itself and disintegrates. The transistor shuts off all of a sudden, or actually it opens up. All of a sudden, a bunch of power is dumped through the circuit. Both the voltage from the battery, which is too low normally to power the LED, and a bunch of extra electricity energy from the magnetic field decaying, all get shunted through the LED. It lights up for a moment, and then it turns off again when the energy runs out, and the cycle starts again. That's a very simplified, simplified version, but I still haven't gotten the hang of explaining it super smoothly. But there's a really great video by Big Clive, who is the one who came up with this name. Um, and so one really cool thing about this, I'm very excited as well about this one, because our Tuesday Hackster Cafe guest this week was David Groom, and he sent me this kit for my birthday, which was just last week. So it was a perfect gift. And if you haven't seen that interview, go check out Tuesday's video, Hackster Cafe with David Groom. I meant to link it in the description below. I'll put it down there afterwards. And yeah, actually, maybe I'll pull it up really quick right now. It's Hackster Cafe playlist. You can always go to the playlist to find all of our past YouTubes. And right there at the top, David Groom of Make, and also a number of other things that we didn't get around to talking about, including our mutual hackerspace, All Hands Active in Ann Arbor, and a ton of other cool stuff. Another cool thing is that we're both secretly British, which factors into the excitement that I have around this circuit in particular, because it was first surfaced in an article, I think from 1999, in an electronics magazine by a guy called Z Kaparnik, called the 1 volt LED. Big Clive named it both the Vampire Microtorch and the Joule Thief. And that person was from Swindon. He wrote in from Swindon to talk about the circuit, and that's where I'm originally from. And also David, we both like started out in Britain and ended up in Ann Arbor for some reason. I don't know. Maybe there's a secret Britain to Ann Arbor pipeline. But anyway, thank you so much, David. I'm so excited to assemble this. Yes, I couldn't wait. I had to do this immediately. And be sure to go check out that interview, because it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. David does such cool stuff, and it's also a celebration of Retro Tech and Gaming Month here on Hackster.io, and we have some stuff to say about that. So, this is a Joule Thief, this specific one. Also, I flipped out when I saw it, because this is a kit on Tindy, linked below again. It's designed by tilde.industries, and look at it. It is so cute and pretty. It's like my exact aesthetic. I wish I had one of my PCBs up here right now to show you, but look at it! I can't not make lots of little noises. Look at this. It's got like copper underneath the silk screen. To create some texture there of like a little skeleton with a heart. Okay, I actually have to go fetch a couple of my PCBs. 1 second. Just, this is so perfect, because like I created this companion core PCB with a little gold heart in it, exposed in the copper. Actually, it's just removed solder mask, but yeah. And so the whole like skeletons and hearts thing, you can tell that we have like a pretty similar thing going on, and I love love this aesthetic. It's so cute. And look at this skeleton on the back. Oh, isn't that good? It's done in silk screen with some exposed gold on there, which is also like a huge thing that I love. I love where they put the toroid on there actually. But again, like the stylistic similarities are very exciting to me. Like this is one that I made a while ago, which is an ESP8266 programmer that also works as an earring and does program your ESP8266s. But back to this kit. This is the one that David sent me, and I'm super excited to try it out. So we're gonna solder that, and it's by Tilde Industries. The other thing to look at here is their entire store on here. Check this out. There's a scarab that's a little SAO. Content warning for upcoming language. This matches the SAO or shitty add-on standard, which is something that I believe Brian. Oh my gosh, I always forget his last name. Brian from Hackaday created a while ago. Bench off. There we go. Created this shitty add-on standard for conference badges because a lot of them are very large, but maybe you only want to make like a small little add-on and nothing super complicated. Anyway, this is beautiful, and look again how they've used that copper underneath the solder mask. There's the black solder mask, and then there's the gold exposed copper, which in this case has been coated with, I assume, Enig coating, which is a gold coating. And they've got that copper underneath the carapace of the beetle to give it some texture, which is just wonderful. Oh my gosh. Oh, they got a close-up of that. Look at it! And the little logo underneath. Amazing! And the little shine through LEDs. That's just gorgeous. And finally, okay, before I I promise we'll get to the soldering soon. But come on, load for me, please. Ah. Anyway, Le Petit Prince. I said that wrong, but they made a beautiful little prince PCB set. We'll just zoom in manually here, old style, and look at his old face, and it's the fox. The fox is like one of my favorite characters, because it's very relatable in terms of like friendship and romance and stuff. It's like talking about how if it becomes tamed, then it will like end up having to miss him or something. Anyway, so once you're tamed, you're never the same again. I just love this person's work, and I'm so excited to get to solder this cat. Okay, and unfortunately that's out of stock, but someday maybe they'll make more. If you're watching, you should make more. I will buy 28,000 of them. So maybe make 29,000 and I'll buy the first 28,000, and then I'll assemble them all myself, one every day, until I have the whole thing memorized. This is getting weird. But anyway, there's other Joule Thieves we'll look at later. Let's get to the soldering now. Oh, thank you. I am very excited. So yeah. Oh yeah, and just quickly, here's my own like little Joule Thief thing. Another reason I'm very excited about this kit. Like this person has my exact aesthetic. Obviously it's their own as well. I love it. Anyway, and this is sort of my interpretation of the circuit, which you can use with conductive tape going either out this way or down that way. It's basically a really flexible design that you can attach to power sources in any which way, and it's kind of universal. But I haven't actually pulled this out of the envelope yet, so let's do it. Oh my gosh. Ooh, it sounded like there might still be some. Oh no, I just hit my own Joule Thief with the envelope. Okay. Oh, look at it. Shiny. Look at the little skeleton. This is the best Friday ever. Look at the little bones in the tail. Ah! His flip. It has little, almost like comic book style lettering on here. Keychain. Oh, they've got a little key fob with their little QR code on it. Brilliant. Wow. This is just, I need to find out whoever this is that's behind this and just instantly be besties or something. No shade to my existing besties. But look at it. Little shine through eyes and stuff. Okay, let's break this apart. Little skeleton. Oh, and it tells you about its parts. 2 LEDs, 1 transistor, 1 capacitor, 1 resistor, 1 diode, 2 wires, and 1 ferrite, and 1 battery holder. Oh, they gave us the ferrite core! I'm really curious about this because I wanted to make a kit out of mine. And I was like, how do you choose a ferrite core for that? I've got this like other demo one that I wired up a while ago and have since cannibalized parts off of it, so it probably doesn't work right now. But both of these work, you know? You can use toroids of different shapes and sizes. These are extremely different. And this one that comes with this kit is a little bit in the middle. So yeah, when I first was looking to choose a toroid for my project, I was like, I want to be able to ideally give these out and therefore, order a bunch of the same one that I know will work. And I asked around and I was like, what kind of toroid should I get that like I can get a bunch of them? And people were just like, oh, whatever toroid will work, just whatever you have lying around. And let me tell you, they tell you that you can scavenge these things out of, for example, LED light bulbs sometimes. Be careful with those. And oh no, they were CFL, compact fluorescent light bulbs. Be very careful, obviously, cutting those apart. But I did it. And power supplies, transformers actually. But some of them don't have the right kind, and I had a really difficult time finding the right ones. So I'm excited to continue that journey and find the perfect one. But it sounds like they've already solved that problem. So tilde.industries, business card. Dark mode, light mode. Depends on whether you're a cutter or a normie, I guess. Okay. As promised, let's check the part list. We do have 2 LEDs. 1 transistor. 1 capacitor. 1 diode. Oh, I skipped one. 1 resistor here. And 2 wires and 1 ferrite. Oh, and then there's a battery holder, which does not seem to have made it. Maybe it was in the outer packaging, but we can improvise with jumper wires until I find that. All right, so let me double check that my audio is doing the right thing, actually, because we disconnected for a minute. Okay, good. So, what value is this resistor? Let's take a look. It's brown, black. Is that black? Blue? So that's 100 and blue. Let's see. Brown, Roy, G. I think it's 6. Blue, violet. There's no indigo. It goes right from blue to violet. So you go brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and then it's gray and white, but I always forget in what order. So that's a 6. So wow, that's a really high resistor. So 100 and then 6 more zeros. So 100 mega ohms? That's a lot. But cool. Let me know if you have a different opinion about that. But yeah, brown, black, black, blue. So 100 million ohms. Okay. Get our little wires apart here. Oh, we're gonna wind the toroid, of course. This actually is a little bit pesky sometimes, so we'll see how it goes. They may have wanted it to be wound around each other, but I don't think that it's something that I want. And it may not work with them wound around each other. Let's look up some actual instructions. I gotta straighten these out a little bit in order for us to wind them cleanly. David, it is very possible that it was in the container, and I just missed it. And so for now, jumper wires will definitely work, but don't worry about it. Thank you, though. Okay. What were we doing? Yes, looking up instructions. Oop. So we'll pull up the product page here. And Description, specs. Here we go. Assembly instructions. Yeah, so an energy harvesting friend. Insert your discharged AA or AAA battery from your remote controller, multimeter, or other appliances to give it a second life and light up the eyes of the cat. But first, you must help him to get his parts back in place. The Joule Thief cat is a beginner-friendly soldering kit. All the parts are through hole and are included. Find assembly instructions here. Pretty. An adorable but mischievous cat who feeds on electricity, using every bit of energy left in discharged batteries. That is so cute! Ah! I can't handle the cuteness. It comes with little hats. Okay, that's the other thing. Look at this. There's a little witch hat and a straw hat for the cat. The circuit cat has little hats for it. It's amazing. Okay. Oh yeah, very comic book style. Winding the coil. Okay, yeah. Strip 1 to 3 millimeters of the ends off of the wires so it exposes the copper. Wind the wires 10 to 12 times around the ferrite core in color pairs. So, oh, it's a really nice diagram. This is a little bit of a tricky part, but we're gonna give it a go. I'm gonna strip them after I do this. Oh no, I'll strip them first. Why not? Doot, doot, doot. I keep working on sort of background tracks for this channel, like backing music, and I'm sort of trying to learn how to do good generative music for that purpose. In the meantime, all the backing tracks that you hear on any tech highlight videos are in fact ones that I've put together. The older ones are a little not as good. The newer ones are sort of very I will just say backgroundy. They're not very exciting, but they do the job. But in the meantime, I recommend listening to Annie, who is a really excellent modular synthesizer artist and makes this wonderful, low-key, chill vibe type music for studying or relaxing to, or watching someone assemble a circuit. So, some people recommend putting tape around one end for this part. I'm just gonna try and brute force it. I hope there's enough that I can just leave a little tail out here, maybe. Hold on to that. If you all have any tips for winding ferrite cores with wire, feel free to drop them in the chat. I don't believe it matters which way you wind these, like whether I wind to the left or the right. As far as I know, it's all the same. There is an interesting topic of discussion around, oh my gosh, if you want to increase the efficiency of the circuit, you can use different lengths of wires. It has to do with the resistance going through each side, I believe. I could be wrong. But so a different number of turns for each wire. But I don't remember what the deal was with that, and I haven't tried it myself. It's just an interesting, there's so many different ways that you could really dig into the physics of this circuit. Oops. I'm trying to do it already. No, be as long as the other one. But you can build it fairly easily, but there's a lot of like weird stuff going on here. So here we go. Haha. That's 2 turns. As you can see, it's a little fiddly, but totally doable. I'm just going to try and not lose this end. And just try and make sure that the wires don't cross over each other. It will get more fast-paced after this. We gotta get the hard part over with first. 3 turns! Okay. I'm gonna actually... Do I have a pliers over here? No! Wait, I might have a little pliers on my multi-tool here. Are you gonna save the day again, Intel? Let's find out. Oh no! It's the one with, Oh, it does! It has a tiny little pliers on the end. Got wire strippers. I love this little multi-tool, by the way. It's a Leatherman Squirt. I'm not sure if they still make this version with the wire strippers. Later we got one with pliers on it. But it's the best little multi-tool. We had them for some hackathons back in 2015. And I got several of them taken away in by airport security. So don't try to take them through the airport. Even if you try to argue with the TSA people that it's like, under an inch or whatever, it's not worth anyone's time. You definitely don't want to lose your little multi-tool. But it's a really good one. Leatherman Squirt. Yeah, so I'd get one taken away at the airport, and then I would just sort of go to the next hackathon and, tuck one in my pocket for later. Don't tell. I think most of the people who ran those hackathons with me, I was one of the organizers, obviously, are not at Hackster anymore. So I think I'm off home free, but yeah. Oh, David says, I just left a modular synth meetup. That's super cool. My partner's really into modular synthesizers, and I've been trying to pick up a little bit about it. Still no great shakes at it, but at least I know, what a VCO is and a VCA and VCX, VCP, VC whatever, VCR. I know what a VCR is now. Voltage controlled. Actually, I don't know what VCR usually stands for. Video cassette recorder? Anyway, VCO and VCA are like voltage controlled oscillator and amplifier respectively. Am I gonna be able to get 10 windings out of this? I don't know. Fortunately, it doesn't really matter. Huge thing about this circuit is that it's weirdly magic and seems to kind of work with pretty much whatever you have on hand. There's sort of what is the word? There's some term for like generally available transistor or generally available NPN transistor or something. Whatever NPN transistor you have sort of around may just work with this circuit. Don't get lost in there. No. It's a very flexible circuit. Okay, how many do we get? Ooh, what are you doing over there? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 windings. That's good enough. Someday maybe I'll be better at this and I'll be able to get like 20 windings on this size of toroid. But it depends on the size of your toroid, the inner diameter largely, and the gauge of your wires and how much insulation they have on them. For example, I was using this is actually wire wrapping wire because it's thin and it's got a really nice thin insulating coating on it. You could also use enameled wire, but yeah. Oh, do I follow Look Mom No Computer? I don't. I think I do like subscribe to his channel. I rarely watch it, but on the occasions when I do, it is very cool. I love the like huge wall of 555 oscillators that he has. That is just so cool. There's some other. You can see you get little body art from doing this. Okay, so let's. Hopefully we've got enough of a little tail of wire on there to get us through. Maybe I'll make this other one a little bit longer, and just until I'm sure of what I'm doing. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is solder as directed. Okay. Make sure the colors are aligned as shown below. This part is a little confusing because you sort of have to cross them over. I believe you're gonna like so circuit-wise, you end up with sort of opposing ends of the two wires. So say that this end of we started over here, right? This is end number A of each wire. Wire A or wire 1 and 2. I'm going to say 1 is pink and 2 is orange, okay? So this is end A of wires 1 and 2, and this is end B of wires 1 and 2. And what we want is for A2 and B1 to be connected, they're going to, because electricity is going to flow in opposite directions through each wire. So if it's flowing from end A to end B in this wire, it's going to be flowing from end B to end A in this wire. This is why you should watch one of the explainer videos. Actually, in my tutorial for Joule Thief, which is also linked below, I included links to the YouTube videos that helped me understand this. So this is someone else's video about how all this goes. You can see how it's set up. I've seen slightly different setups with the resistor in line with the LED. Makes it a little bit easier to visualize. You can see that this green wire and red wire at the top would be connected together. But yeah, a little bit confusing when you start out. And then at the bottom, I've got my own explanation. And, you know, it's still pretty confusing for me, but it works. Okay, so I'm going to look at these traces and see which two are connected together, because I'm a little bit confused by this. Oh, this is actually a little difficult to decipher. Okay, let's see if I can show you, and we can both do this together. Uh-oh, there we go. So basically, I'm looking at the light reflecting off of the PCB to determine where the traces go. And it looks like this one comes down here. And goes around here down to the battery. Okay, so that goes to the positive. Maybe I'll be a horrible person and mark on this just so that it helps me out a little bit. But I'll do it in purple so it still looks cool. Okay, so this is plus. And you don't have to do this. You could just follow the tutorial, but it's a little ambiguous to me, so I'm gonna take a look, just because I know from experience this is a super weird circuit. So this second one, that goes across, I think. Let me check. Yes, okay. So these two at the top are both connected to the positive of the battery. I'm going to double check that by looking super close with my actual face and not through a camera. You can watch me squint at it for a second. It's a little confusing because the way these traces, any traces next to each other look, with the keepouts on either side, or whatever you call it, the spacing between the traces, it can be a little bit like that illusion with the dogs, the dachshunds that are like going both ways, and you can't tell what's like positive space and what's negative space, especially with the light bouncing off of it like this. Okay, but yeah, the second one goes down to oh no, that's a keep out. Oh no, it's not. Goes down to the diode. Okay. So the bottom one on the right goes down to the diode. The bottom one on the left goes to the resistor, which goes to the transistor. Okay. Well, at least I know which two should be connected together, so that's good. Let's take a look. If we look at the circuit, yes, so the middle two, whichever two I choose to be the sort of go-betweens, so I'm going to choose these two, one from each side, as the ones that are going to be in the middle, and these two will be the other two at the bottom. And as far as I know, I think it doesn't really matter beyond that. Yes. Okay. So this is correct according to their color coding as well. You have the ones of the same color diametrically opposite each other. Diagonally opposite each other. Cool. Beautiful. And it may not actually matter beyond that. I haven't really thought through the whole system, but yeah, just making sure that you have one orange going diagonally, one end of each orange, and then, or rather, each end of the orange and each end of the pink going in a diagonal line as well. So that just means that our left side is going to be a little bit short. Time to strip this. I actually prefer using a non-marked out wire stripper because I can sort of do it by feel. Watch me screw this up now that I've said that. But like, I can sort of largely feel when I've got through the insulation. There we go. Okay. Time for soldering. I'm going to turn on my soldering iron. I've got my solder. I usually use lead free, which is a little bit ironic because I think this tip cleaner has lead in it, but it's the principle of the thing. And my little gold brass coil for cleaning stuff off. It's going to take a second for my soldering iron to heat up. Yeah! It is very exciting for me. This is such a cool design. Ah! And on the other side, it is not a skeleton, but it still has a skeleton underneath. How cool is that? That's really cool. That's how cool it is. It's very cool. So let's see. While the soldering iron heats up, we've got the toroid up here. We've got LEDs over here. What are you? Is this the capacitor maybe? Because transistor, diode, resistor. Yeah. And then that's where the battery goes. Sweet. I could break it apart already, I guess, while we're waiting. This is the such a cool little break-off keychain. I love this. There we go. Oh, yay! All the mouse bites adhered to this side. And, yeah. Came up a little bit, but it's fine. In a second, I'm going to start using my Omnivice over here. Let's see. So LEDs. That's resistor, capacitor. Transistor. I'll cut this off of its little piece of paper. You can just like peel the paper off, but then you got paper gunk and adhesive all over the legs. You basically never need that long of transistor legs anyway. So, zoop. And let's see, what are you? You are a usually it's like a PN2222 or something like that, but this one says C1815 YCA 18. Not sure what that is, but maybe you're familiar. Okay, let's see if this is hot yet. So exciting! For anyone who's just joining, you can find the links to this kit and stuff in the description to the video. It is the Joule Thief Cat Kit by tilde.industries, available on Tindy now. Is it actually? I should check. At least at some point it was available on Tindy. There we go. We have melting. So I'm going to tin these wires really quick. We're not melted enough. The copper wire is sucking up all the heat. Can't get it to detach. Someday soon we will have melting. Come on. Or rather, come off of there. Boo. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna give my iron tip a good clean. That's a lot better. Okay, now maybe we can tin this. I'm just gonna tin all 4 of these little legs coming off of here and try to make sure they're nice and bunched up first so they'll go through the holes cleanly. Cool. The nice thing about having a larger gauge of wire for this, probably a lower number, but like a wider gauge, is that the wire wrap wire that I used for mine is kind of floppy. And so it can sort of, cause bending stress on the wire and can snap fairly easily. Whereas this stuff is going to be pretty robust, I think. I'm going to solder this little pink one first because I think that's the one that's going to give me the most trouble being all short. And then that one I will know can reach while I try to do the rest. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put this one in the bottom over here. Come on, fit. I know you can fit. Grrr. Well, maybe I'll melt it a bit and try to shove it through. Because that's how we do. Okay, come on. It does help to talk to your circuits as you are soldering them. Either they'll work better or they'll know that you're frustrated with them. There we go. Okay. Now that's in. It's not like perfect. You can add a little solder on the backside here. Boop. Although maybe I should solder another one first so that doesn't just desolder. And then this might actually be the hardest one because I gotta get it in there. Ah! Extremely perfect technique here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna hold that in place. Be careful when holding this stuff in place because it is copper wire. It will conduct heat and you may feel pain. So I'm gonna just try and get that on there real quick in a sort of quick and dirty way. And now I'm gonna go back and fix up the first join that I made a little bit better. There we go. And then once that cools down, I'm going to try and fix up the second one a little bit better so that we actually have all the parts soaking up that wonderful solder. That might be a bit much, actually. There we go. Cool. Now the other two should hopefully be a little bit easier. That wasn't even too bad. Making sure again that I've got the pink wire exposed at the bottom there and the orange wire connected at the top, so that now on this side we're going to put the orange wire at the bottom and the pink one at the top. And since I did this so wonky with the really short wires on the first end, that means unfortunately that my toroid is going to be mounted sideways, which is going to look a little bit wonky on this side, but should not affect the light coming through the eyes on the other side. It just means that instead of being a cool, like, sort of end-on mounting like this, like so, instead mine's going to be a bit sideways. But oh well. Oops, I didn't show you. Like so. See how pretty that is with the toroid just like sticking out like some kind of cool space age accessory? Ours will not be like that. But yours could. Okay, let's get this into the vise and give it a solder. If you're not very experienced with soldering, don't do what I just did and hang out with your soldering iron sort of just pointing out of your hand into whatever space. I happen to have this area of my desk pretty clean and clear of stuff that it would catch on fire if I point it in the wrong direction. Scrape this little piece of solder off there. There we go. And I'm pretty confident with it, but I still try not to get too rambunctious with what I do with the soldering iron. And yeah, just be careful out there, Okay, yeah, a little wonky, but maybe it's some kind of, I don't know what it is. All right, so let's put maybe the LEDs on next. No, we're gonna follow the instructions. Fancy that. So normally with a kit like this, I would start actually with the shortest pieces first, because it's easier often to like put the smallest ones that are lowest, most flat against the PCB, and then like build up from there so that stuff doesn't get in the way. But this is a very sparse PCB, which means that there's plenty of space around each of the components anyway, and it doesn't really matter as much what order you do stuff in. I do think it's going to be a little annoying to get the LEDs in there. Not really, though. Like, this is a very easy circuit. Very friendly. So, okay, what does the instruction set say to do next? Soldering the LEDs. Yes, okay, that's what I wanted to do. Anyway, so make sure the LED is aligned to the shape of the eye. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, see this? How each of the eyes has a flat side? That is because that is the negative side of the LED. Usually they grind down, or in this case, wow, they made the whole... No, the top is still round, as is usual with LEDs, but the base here will have a flat side ground into it, and that is the negative side. You can easily tell, because when you hold it like this, it looks like a minus sign. And so yeah, they've actually shaped the eyes so that it matches that. Isn't that cool? And used the convention of square pad for ground. So we're gonna follow their lead. And as for the placement of the LEDs, before them, solder the legs, well, bend the legs 2 times in a 90-degree angle with tweezers or with pliers. Oh, look at that. It like goes around. Why does it go around? Oh, so that it will hold in place. Ha! That's cool. So yeah, the regular way of soldering LEDs is to just like stick them through and then pull the legs outward so that it stays in place. I'm actually going to do this a different way because I'm contrary and I want to make sure that it ends up pointing in the right like in the right place, you know. Let me see actually how they did theirs in real life. Like how far is that LED? Are those LEDs bent down? Oh, they're pointing directly out. That makes sense. Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, so first, and again, of course, I don't have my pliers when I want them, but I'm gonna do this way. No, this way. Don't squeeze too hard if you're doing it like this because you could crack the LED. And then we can just sort of eyeball it and be like, okay, if I want the LED there, then I want it to be bent right around there. Again, making sure that the flat side of the LED lines up with the flat side of the eye. And let's see how close we got there. Could be better. Don't want to do this too much because, again, that could overly flex the wires and make them just break off. But I think we got this. Eee! That looks good. Okay, cool. That's one. And then the second one, again, flat side to the left. There we go. Bendy bend. And oh, look at how far down the other one was bent. Right around there. Okay. Is that it? No. A little bit further. I'm doing this from a weird perspective from the camera as well. That's my excuse. Let's see how that goes. It's actually a little long now. But you know what? I think we can cheat it by just... Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's just fine. Okay. So now I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to do a little tack soldering. So I'm going to put some solder up from the top side and then resolder it from the bottom. Get a little solder on there to make good thermal contact. Do that. That's good. And the other one. Honestly, I could probably just solder these from the top and it'd be fine. No, go over there. Yes. Ah, no. Nice and solid. Oh, what am I doing? Goes between these little rubber holders. There we go. I'm in a little bit of a race against time because I've got sunlight coming through my window, streaming in, and it is going to overtake my table and make everything look stripy in a little bit. But that's the price we pay for natural light. And that just means I gotta go fast. Okay, cool, beautiful. We're gonna do the rest of this pretty speedy because of the sunlight and also because most of the hard stuff is done. That was the only stuff that's like a little bit complicated. For someone who's done a lot of soldering. If you're just starting out, you know, the rest of this may be new to you as well, and that's chill too. In which case, thanks for joining me to look at this whole process. So what we have left is the diode, resistor, that's are the two things I'm not holding right now. Diode, resistor, capacitor, and transistor. And we're about to put this on. And let's see what order they recommend. You have to make those noises while you're going through the instructions, by the way. Okay, capacitor. This is one of these little gumdrop capacitors, and it is not it does not care about polarity, so you can put it in either way. There we go. Little baby capacitor. That's the technical term. And I'm just using my fingers underneath to bend the legs outward to hold it in place. I'm actually going to solder, I'm going to place all of these before I solder them and fix my lighting. There we go. Place them all, then solder them all, then clip all the leads off at the same time because it's speedy. So next, Schottky diode. There's a stripe on it that tells you which way it goes. In this case, there's a little black cat or cap on it, which is that way. And we're gonna pull it out of here. You can just pull these off. They do come on like a paper tape, similar to how transistors do, but in this case, you can just pull the adhesive off because, I mean, it's all just gonna get clipped off anyway. And in my opinion, it's easier and results in less debris than clipping the ends off from the start. Okay, cool. That went in pretty well. I just sort of eyeballed what the distance was between these holes and then bent down the legs, pre-bent them, and now I've bent the other ones on the other side outward so that it stays in place. See, there's our capacitor, and here's our diode. Okay. Now, what do they say? I'm going to be really strict about following their rules. Partly just because they're beautifully drawn, you know, it'd be a shame not to. The transistor is next. Cool. This one is, again, pretty easy. You just make sure that the right side is pointing upwards, and that is the flat side. There we go. Bend the little leggies out with our fingers underneath the board. Goes like that. Very easy. Then we've got our resistor, and again, this one is not polarized. It doesn't care about polarity, which way it goes in. You just pull these little papers off so it'll go through the board, bend it in approximately the right places. Doot, doot, and stick it through. If you have more than one resistor, you may choose to align the stripes going the same direction. You do not have to. You could, but every time I assemble something with a bunch of resistors, people are like, but that stripe's going the same way. You don't have to. I made this one a little wide, and I do want it to be pretty much flush with the board, so I'm gonna rebend it a little bit closer in. Okay. You don't always eyeball it right on the first try. There we go. That's nice. Time for a sip of water. Just found the battery holder. That's chill. We'll use some wires. Ha! Cathode soldering in a cat PCB is sure funny to say. Yeah. Cathode. I assume that it's different in different places. Let's see. What soldering iron do you use? I always have issues using thin solder. I use a Weller. Oh my goodness, this is going to be terrifying. I might actually show you another part of my desk, which is always a mistake, but let's journey over here. Here's my Weller. What type is it? You can see we got glasses, Joule Thief components everywhere. You know, I'd have to like flip it around and stuff, and right now it is hot, so I'm not going to do that. But that's what I'm using. It's a pretty standard, you know, popular soldering iron. Now let's get our stuff focused again. That looks actually pretty good. Yeah. All right, so now it's center solder. Yay! Gotta clean that iron off again. Brass coil. Get a little bit of solder on it for thermal contact. This is a good time to double check all of your components and make sure that they are in the right place. Did I cross these over? I crossed them over each other. That was silly. That's what you get for doing stuff by feel and not actually looking at the others. But it doesn't really matter because those parts are going to get clipped off anyway. So this is the capacitor that we're soldering onto the bottom. I just did a little bit of a bad move, which is you shouldn't put the solder onto the soldering iron and then put it onto the joint. You want to heat up the joint and all components with the soldering iron and then add the solder into the joint. But because I was doing it at a bit of a weird angle, I ended up doing it the bad way. A little thing that I picked up over the years that I like to do is, you know, you don't always get the exact right amount of solder on the join. So if you have too much or it looks like extra, you can just like drag that up the leg like so. And it gets clipped off with the rest of the leg and it's fine. I do sometimes, I gotta caveat what I said a minute ago. You do sometimes put, as I said, a little bit of solder on the tip in order to ensure good thermal contact because like, you know, when it's just a bare piece of metal there, then it's a very small contact surface between the hot soldering iron and your join, and you may not be able to heat everything up. But with a little bit of melted solder on there, it is able to transfer the heat to a broader area and therefore heat up everything you need to heat up at once. So don't use the soldering iron as the way to transfer solder to your join, but it's a way to transfer heat to your join with a little bit of solder on it. I do like to do that little flick motion to sort of draw off any excess. And that way you get a beautiful join with those sort of like smooth but not overly convex. I'm not gonna toot my own horn too much here because, you know, there's definitely people who are better at this than I am. But, you know, it works. It always works. Almost always. I've had issues sometimes with not putting enough solder on, but I've never really had an issue with putting too much solder on at like this amount. If you had a bunch too much, then you could get bridging. You just got to be careful for that. You don't want to short anything out. I really give myself a bit of a chore with snipping these in the camera placement, but here we go. So I do like to hold on to the little legs as I'm snipping off. Usually I'll just put my thumb down over it. Once it's cool, all this is already quite cool. If there's big pores of copper underneath the surface, it can stay hot for a long time. So make sure that you give it enough time to cool before you put your thumb on it. But that keeps the legs from sort of flying off everywhere and into your eyes and, you know, just horrible places. You can also save these wire clippings for in case you need jumper wires or not like breadboard jumper wire. Well, actually, you know, something like this could totally be a breadboard jumper wire if you have two holes next to each other. But also for connecting little joins together in things like my companion core, actually, where all down this spine area, there's these little things that you want to bridge across them in order to join them, and a little snipping from something like this is just perfect for that. Like, look at this. Perfect. So we're almost there. This is so exciting. Is there like a stand for this? How does it work? Let's take a look at the instructions. How do they have it standing up? Do they have it standing up at all? Does it just lean? It looks... Oh, the battery holder, duh. It leans on the battery holder. Actually, just like mine does. Show you that. Mine can kind of like... It just uses the battery itself as a little stand. Well, that's not working right now. But, you know, it can like stand up like that just from the tension with the conductive tape. And then you... And it can kind of rock back and forth in a cute sort of way. I will come up with some other way to do this. Maybe I could stick some wires through this that would stick into a breadboard, and it would do that, you know, and then use the breadboard to connect it to a battery. For right now, I'm going to solder, actually, just these little extra pieces of wire are going to be my friends. I'm going to strip them and use those to connect it to a battery and just test it out and see how it goes. You know, as a result of just sort of doing wire stripping by feel, I therefore have not attained an instinctual knowledge of what gauge different wires are, which would have helped me a second ago when selecting a... Oh wait, that's already stripped on the other end. Interesting. Oh, right, because I stripped them at the start for no reason. Oh, because I guess I assumed that I might use the entire piece of wire. Okay, so let's solder in some wire. And then I'll figure out how to stand this up. But maybe not in this session, because we are in a race against time, as usual. Yeah, Joule Thief circuits, though, be sure to check out those links in the description below, because they are just so fascinating. I can't get enough of them. Ugh, I'm just going to tin this first. Why didn't I do that anyway? Okay, tin it. I like to just, you know, stand this up off of the wire and like bring the wire and my... stand that up off the spool, bring my wire and my soldering iron to it. If I'm trying to solder something on a circuit board and I kind of have to hold it in place, I can make a little snake out of it. I think of it like a little cobra or whatever, just sort of like doing that, and then you can bring both pieces into it. Very convenient. Okay, let's get these in place. Go in there. Okay. How shall I hold them in place? I'm just gonna try and put some extra solder on from the top to make it stay there. Did it work? No, that's fine. I'll get it from the bottom. It works with some components, but mostly when you have an exposed wire to work with. So I'm actually just going to shove these through for now and then flip it over. Fortunately, this one had a little bit more friction, so let's do this. And that one might actually stay in on its own while I do the other one. Isn't this gorgeous? It's just so pretty. Yes, good. Actually, they're both staying in there. Haha. Sometimes it helps like bend them around anyway, because the force of their own gravity can kind of hold them in. It's weird. What is physics? There we go. Clip those bad boys off. Alrighty. And is that it? That might be it. Wow. Okay. Time to test. I'm pretty sure that that went fine, but you know, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. And I'm actually just going to use this same battery. And I think we established that positive is over there. Yep. Okay. Okay, everybody hold your breath and cross your fingers now. Yay! That is so cool. Look at this awesome little cat. Look at its eyes light up. I love this. Oop. This is a gorgeous circuit. I am really, really excited about it. I want to know how they did their design because I do mine with Procreate on the iPad, and this actually looks quite hand drawn as well. But maybe they did actually draw it by hand and then like scan it in. But also, some of it looks suspiciously symmetrical. I think this was done digitally. Um, and the way that the skeleton is done implies layers to me. Like, see how that outline overlaps the skeleton bit, the copper layer? But I don't know. I'll definitely have to get them on the show at some point, and if they're willing. Thank you again to David Groom for sending me this. I'm so excited. This is the perfect thing. And everyone, be sure to go check out our interview with David from Tuesday. Which, did I pull it up yet? Yes. Hackster Cafe, David Groom Make. It's the most recent one. You can also go to hackster.io/videos and see all of our cafes and also tech highlights, just like this one. Ooh. So we have more questions. I also use Weller. Have you tried to use a USB-based soldering kit? I have. I'm actually really ogling the Pine Sill, but I can't justify it right now. So the Pine Sill is basically like a Pine 64 based. I think it's, pardon me, Pine 64 based um, uh, analog to the TS100 or TS80 soldering irons, which are fast heating little portable soldering irons. I forget which one. I think it's the TS100 that runs on USB-C and the TS80 that runs on barrel jack. They heat up really fast, and the Pine Sill is basically an open source version of that, which you can program, and they're both very tiny and compact, and I think they're wonderful, and they really do the job. I've also got actually a cheapo soldering iron that plugs into USB that I got for like $5 or $10 at like Tinkersphere in New York, I think, and it is a lot more basic. It doesn't have any like built-in screens showing what the temperature is or anything. It has like a little metal button that you put your finger on to enable it to heat up, and if you stop touching the little metal button, then it will like cool down. And that one doesn't work as well. It doesn't have a lot of power. I think you need the TS80 or 100 or the Pine Sill to get enough oomph from it if you wanted to solder something a little more challenging that takes up a bunch of needs it to output a bunch of heat. But yeah, they're great. Those who made this PCB totally got a nice way to use bones on the side where you put components in. It's nice touch. Yes, I love it. So it's pretty much the same design. The skeleton on this side sort of matches the skeleton. So it's a silk screen on this side, and then it's a copper layer underneath the black solder mask on this layer that creates that textural effect. It's so good. There's a cool RISC-V soldering irons. I'm not. Is that the Pine Sill or is that a different one? Cool. Any other questions? No. Okay, so there's one more thing that I have to show you before I jump off here. And I'm going to let you look at the circuit, actually. But here we go. I have to show you another thing because it's very relevant. And I forgot to put it on my desk before the show started. They are now best friends, basically. This is a circuit that I did a little while ago by Elke Education, aka Steph Piper. And let's just clear off everything else here. And it just runs on a CR2032 coin cell battery. And I just let part of the arms fall off. Go back on there. Oops, I think I put them on backwards. Ooh. There we go. Yeah. Also black, gold, and white color scheme. And I love it. This one looks like it's kind of it's like it's like just sort of sitting there nonplussed. Amazing. So they're gonna be friends now. This is another one that I assembled live on air. a little while ago, and I will post the link to that in the description as well, because I think these guys are just destined to be friends. Look, they both got little twinkly stars on them and stuff. Clearly now I have to make a cat PCB. Maybe a companion bot. But yeah, I love that this is a thing now. This one has a sweet kind of 2.5D thing going on here, which is, you know, you have multiple 2D layers coming together to create like a 3D effect. And yeah, so this is the one that we just assembled. It is by tilde.industries on Tindy. It is gorgeous. And this is the one by Elke Electronics that we soldered a little while ago on the channel. And now let's take a look at some of the other tabs I didn't show you earlier. So, you know, the little hats and the scarab and stuff, so much cool stuff. But there's lots of other Joule Thief circuits out there if you want something a little bit more simple or functional. For example, this one I think is a really cool interpretation that turns it into basically a flashlight. Big Clive had one that he called the like vampire LED torch or something that was based on a Joule Thief. Put these back in the window over here, because yeah, okay. Yeah, so using it as a torch is nothing new, but it's really cool. It's a good way to use this type of project, and look at it go. I've been thinking that these would be great as like bike lights. Basically, I want to make some of these. Part of the reason that I made mine so adjustable in terms of size with the conductive tape there is that you can make any type of different projects with it. So, you know, depending on which way you want to orient everything, you could put it into like a long thin enclosure or a blocky square enclosure, and you have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you arrange it. But yeah, so this is a sort of, you know, aligned with the shape of a battery, extremely minimal, very cute. I love the bar design. There's another one from Maker's Box. We did their SMD challenge coin recently for surface mount soldering. Let's turn that soldering iron off. Clean the tip and the brass coil. Put away. Okay. Yeah, another easy Joule Thief soldering kit, just $5. Beautiful. And they've got a little circuit diagram and all that stuff. Theirs has a switch too, like mine. And then you can also find a bunch more on Hackster, of course. So this really cute one by Team Zelmotech has a neat inclusion where it is photosensitive. So they include photoresistors, so it only turns on when it's dark out. Very cool. And it's got this cute little robot face on it. If your aesthetic goes that way, look at it. My first circuit. And then here's a really cool one. So it's got a solar panel attached to it, and the battery they use is a rechargeable one. So it can still be a really low voltage, but it'll charge off of the solar, and then when there's no solar power available, or even if there is, but like you have it turned on, then it'll light up. And if there's no solar power available, it will act just like a regular Joule Thief, which is super cool. I love this, and I might try and do it myself as well. Plus, I like their style here. It's very functional. It's minimal and functional. You can see the circuit on the bottom, easily get in to fix it. On the top, you've got a solar panel and just enough space for that and enough space for the LEDs. Minimal, beautiful, solid. It looks kind of well designed as well. It doesn't look like, you know, tangled wires all over the place, standard kind of like, you know, mine is still kind of a bit of a bunch of wires all over the place until I get an enclosure designed for this. And then there's another one I wanted to look at. Oh yeah, this one. It's an a Joule Thief circuit with inductive charging, inductive power anyway. So the LED is connected to one inductive coil, and pardon me, Friday. You've got a switch in this one as well, or a button rather. All your other circuitry is connected over here. Transistor, and these are just here's the two inductive coils that you're using on this side. And over here, you've got your LED connected. So it's wireless. It's a wireless Joule Thief. Also a really interesting aesthetic where they've turned the contrast way up, which I love. It makes it look like a zine. Cool. Oh, they're using one of the other kind. Huh. I'll have to check that out. Anyway, very cool. So check out our Hackster Cafe with David Groom from this Tuesday, or Wednesday actually. It was an unusual week. Go look up these other Joule Thieves on Hackster. You can check out other Joule Thief soldering kits on Tindy. Lots of cool ones here. And then other ones by this tilde.industries person who I just think is the coolest now because look at this! And really good instructions in the little comic book format. I did. I guess I sort of got ahead of myself and stopped reading the instructions after a while. But all you had left to do was solder the battery holder on, and yeah, check out their other designs. You can get little witch hat and straw hat for the cat, which I love, and this beautiful cyber scarab circuit as well. Isn't that gorgeous? More texturing and Le Petit Prince with the fox, which is my favorite character ever. Okay, as always, check out the links in the description of this video for all of those extra pages we looked at. Thank you again, David, for sending me this. It is the best thing, and I'll cherish it always. And now it's going to be friends with my little Elky cat as well. They're just going to sit together amongst my plants, and this one is going to bother that one all the time, and it'll be super stoic. And yeah. Oh, yes. We have to talk about Stray for just a moment. Stray is a game that just came out for PlayStation and it's on Steam and stuff as well. And it's about being a cat in a walled city, and you're like, you have this little like robot backpack with a flying robot that flies around and is your. Oh, I shouldn't give this stuff away. Oh no, it's really cute, and you make friends with the robots. I can't help giving that part away. It's just a really great game, and it's about a little cat, and there's robots everywhere, and you should check it out. It's a beautiful game, and I'm sure that Jay's already played it through. But yeah, we should absolutely go check that out. Okay. All right. Thank you all for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday or whatever day it is for you right now. And as always, hack on. Cheers.